Eugene and Triple H, SummerSlam 2004.
Triple H did not want to wrestle Eugene.
We're gonna sell out everywhere.
I know I don't normally talk money, but I got paid.
Okay, so I want to talk about the match, the main event match between Triple H and Eugene. Looking at our placement on the card, we were match 6 of 8. Only JBL against The Undertaker for the WWE Championship and Randy Orton against Chris Benoit for the World Heavyweight title were on after us, those being the double main events. But the thing is, Triple H doesn't do semi-main event matches. He only does main event matches. So any match on a pay-per-view that Triple H is in is a main event match. And that is why I main evented SummerSlam. The Eugene Triple H storyline started about 10 weeks before SummerSlam. A 10-week build where Eugene was gaining fans, getting over, skyrocketing to the top. I mean, in those 10 weeks, Eugene was the hottest babyface on WWE television. The crowd loved him, the hottest babyface thing going until we got to Toronto. Eugene's music hits. I step out the curtain. There's a small babyface pop, a small smattering babyface pop. It was slowly drowned out by a chorus of boos. Nobody in the back, not even me, I think expected for the Toronto crowd to completely turn on Eugene. Jerry the King Lawler often calls Toronto the bizarro land of professional wrestling, of the WWE. And that means that the crowd cheers for the heels and boos the babyfaces. And they booed the piss out of me that night. At one point in the match, Triple H took me to the floor, threw me into the steps. Bam! Now, I'd never taken the steps before, and I didn't really realize there's a technique to running full speed and hitting the steps and then knocking them out of the way. It was like just running into a wall. And I slid down, and there's a little hole on the side of these steps for handles. And one of the edges just cut my shoulder right here, all the way across my shoulder, bleeding immediately down. The crowd never got behind me. In my head, I was thinking, the way I was taught in professional wrestling, that Triple H was the babyface and I was the heel. So why don't we go with the crowd? And I wanted so bad to take over and just start getting some heat on him. Hopefully the crowd would really get behind booing me and really pop hard on his comeback. And he's going to beat me anyway because that was the finish of the match. But I didn't take over. I kept my mouth shut. I was following. He was the ring general, and I did what I was told. At one point, he goes for the pedigree, and I backdropped him out of it. Boom! I collapsed, and the crowd just booed me. Eugene sucks. And for 1 second, I ducked my head in the mat. For 1 second, out of frustration, I broke character and wasn't Eugene face and just buried my head in my arms because I felt like we were swimming upstream. And I knew the comeback was going to be flat because the people weren't behind me. And I just had to go with it. And I only was with my head buried in my arms for 2 seconds. And then we went into the comeback where Eugene started hulking up and Toronto didn't give a shit. Flash forward to the end of the night. Vince McMahon noticed that I broke character in the ring for that little second. And he comes up to me afterward and he said, "You can't ever break your gimmick. Can't ever stop doing your character." He goes, "Razor Ramon was always Razor." I thanked him, went about my day. But for him just to notice that little minuscule minute, I thought that was pretty impressive. So in the match, I make the comeback. Boom, 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 boom. I hit him with the big boot and the leg drop. Flair runs down to the ring. He's up, and I nail Flair off. In the back, when we talked about the match before, I knew I was going to get one more big false finish, and I needed something big. I did the big boot and the leg drop, so I said, "Can I use the pedigree?" And he kind of grinned and said, "Yeah." He goes, but I can't kick out of it, so I'll have Flair put my foot on the ropes. We got to keep the pedigree strong, brother. Can't kick out of that shit. So I give him the pedigree. Flair puts his foot on the ropes. 1, 2, foot on the ropes. I'm running around dancing, thinking that I won. Flair gets kicked out. The big production. He's throwing a fit. As he's backing out, you see Regal come creeping from behind with the brass knucks. Flair turns around, nails him. As Eugene sees Regal, I wave, "Hi, William Regal." And then I turn around and Triple H beats me. Give me pedigree. 1, 2, 3, as Regal just sat and watched, really. I mean, it was kind of I don't know. It was the finish. We did it. I did what I was told.
So now I want to take you behind the scenes of what happened at the Monday Night Raw. They call it the Go Home Monday Night Raw. That means it's the one before the pay-per-view, because the next time that they see you will be at the pay-per-view, and the Raw would be going home to go to the pay-per-view. But you're not really going home, you're actually going somewhere. I went to Toronto for the pay-per-view, but when I was at Monday Night Raw, we were in Cleveland. Were we in Cleveland? It was Cleveland. Of course it was Cleveland. Everybody knows it was Cleveland. I said it was Cleveland. I want to take you behind the scenes on a little discussion that I was privy to in the build-up of Eugene versus Triple H going into SummerSlam. The behind the scenes is that Triple H did not want to wrestle Eugene at SummerSlam. Now, Triple H had nothing against me personally that I know of. But he felt like the Triple H character, the payoff for all of the heat that he had gotten on Eugene, Triple H didn't feel like it was going to pay off with a match with Eugene. I don't know how that works out. I mean, if you beat me up so much and the people are chanting Eugene's name and the natural story arc, the story writes itself. You beat me up 10 times and bloody me, I'm finally going to want to get back at you at the biggest pay-per-view of the summer. But he didn't want to wrestle me. And it was Vince McMahon who said, no, the payoff is in the match at SummerSlam, Triple H and Eugene. Well, maybe Vince didn't say it exactly like that, but you know what I mean. Vince was the one who thought that that was the payoff, and it was good for me. I mean, I know I don't normally talk money, but I got paid $24,000 for that SummerSlam match, although it was $24,000 Canadian. Maybe if I hold this like there, we can make it look like money in my hand. Money, money! I don't know if we got that graphic. I don't know what's going on. But the gist of it was Triple H didn't want to wrestle Eugene in SummerSlam. But I'm glad that he did, because that was my first main event of a pay-per-view, and I have fond memories of it. And it was fun. The biggest party of the summer, SummerSlam. I think that was the next year SummerSlam's catchphrase, though. But irregardless, let me know what you guys think. Tell me in the comments, do you think that Eugene versus Triple H was a good payoff match for the whole angle? Because, I mean, it wasn't just Eugene in the angle. William Regal was in it. Evolution was in it. And if you remember that night, Randy went on at SummerSlam, Randy went on to beat Chris Benoit for the world title. And then that propelled Randy Orton against Triple H storyline. So I guess maybe Triple H beating Eugene was just a speed bump in his overall creative vision and direction. But for me, it was the biggest match I'd ever been in. And I should have just pulled his tights, put my feet on the ropes and pulled his tights and beat him right there in Toronto. You think he would have been embarrassed? Think he would have cried like a little girl? No, I'm just teasing. I like Triple H. If you haven't seen my previous episodes detailing the evolution of the Eugene character, please feel free to check them out here.